Hello, welcome to today's video. This is part 2 of Unit 8. We're mostly going to be just here on page number 91 of this unit because we are talking about a very important skill about mixed articulation. So let's go ahead and actually we're going to flip the page and we're going to start on a friend like you before we go to love somebody. Okay, so a little demonstration of a friend like you. It does have the incomplete measure, a little pickup bar of 3 notes, beginning on beat number 2 is what it is. So it's going to be beats 2, 3, 4. Lift. 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 Very good. So as you can see there, this is not terribly difficult when it comes to mixed articulations, but we kind of do have an introduction to it a little bit. So let's go ahead and talk about the notes first in the right hand. We have D, B, A, G, and that's being tied over, as you can see, tied over that whole note, over the measure into beat number 1 of the next measure. So it's 5 beats in all. That's being held down while you play these harmonic intervals of 5th, 4th, 3rd, 4th, 5th, all non-legato, while the G is being held. So it's kind of like mixed articulation, but not quite. And then don't forget to draw a slash there between G and D, another slash here between A and D, and then an A and D slash right there, because that's where the slurs end. D, C, B. Now we again come down for a long tone A tied over to A right there. 5 beats in all, while the left hand plays these harmonic intervals, all non-legato, always lifting together. A new phrase there, legato here. This is actually just a repetition of the last 2 measures. Lift, and this is a repetition of the first 2. D, B, A, G. When practicing this, I would encourage you to practice 2 measures at a time, one hand alone. 1, 2, 3, 4, tie, lift. And then, of course, just play with the left hand, those non-legato harmonic intervals. Saying the intervals as you play would be helpful to recognize what they are because of your new hand positions. And then slowly putting them together. Don't forget to lift and drop for the non-legato, lift together. And then, of course, you'll continue the rest of that way for a friend like you. Let's go ahead and do a performance of singing and playing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. A friend like you is hard to find. You're always true. You're always kind. One thing that would maybe help out with playing these melodies here, because they're very similar, is on this C right here on measure number 3, put a 4 above that C. Also put a 4 above this C right here on measure number 5, and then 3 above this B. Notice that it goes D, C, B, A. It's a little bit different than the beginning, which is D, B. It skips a 3rd, whereas the just goes in seconds. All right, so that's the friend like you. Work on that one individually and then together. Let's now talk about love somebody now. This is the real whopper here. Love somebody is, as we mentioned in the previous video, it has a lot of repeated legato. So let's go ahead and listen to this once through, and then we'll talk about it a little bit afterwards. Very nice. The first thing we want to do is after, oh, let me go ahead and show you. Now notice that this has actually been simplified a little bit. Even when it's brought in, oh, kind of pumping there, pulsing. So every measure, this one here has a slur, this one has a slur, slur, slur. But every measure should have a slur. So let's draw a slur here, draw a slur here, draw a slur here, and these last two are already slurred. After every measure then, draw a slash, except for those two, of course, are both slurred together. So after drawing those slashes, you know where the right hand needs to lift. The left hand, on the other hand, is all non-legato. So this is the part where we're going to be lifting with mixed articulations. Let's first address the repeated legatos, both of the Ds in either 1, 3, and 5, or repeated legato. So when you do that repeated legato, make sure that you have already practiced the repeated legato technique that I've sent to you, the video, practicing with all 5 fingers, just like you do the 5-finger number 2 kind of. All right, so practice that first, and then come to this with the repeated legato technique. Let's go ahead and play individually, one hand at a time, one measure at a time. G, B, D, D, repeated legato, lift. Now we're going to play the right hand first. A, B, C, 2, lift. Okay, that's the legato because we wrote the slur. And the left hand, of course, is going to be the harmonic intervals. So we have second, lift, third, lift, fourth, 2, lift because of the half note. Now, individually, they're pretty simple. One's slur, one's legato, the other's non-legato. But when we put them together, oh my goodness. It's like we're splitting our brain in half. Let's take it very slowly. We're going to freeze after every beat, after every note. So the first one is going to be second here, A in the right hand. Come down together. Now, I'm going to freeze here, but I'm going to let go of my left hand. So my left hand is gone. It's in the air. But A is still down. This is what happens when you lift with the left hand while the right hand legatos. It's going to stay down, and it's going to slur to the next note. When that note comes down, they come down together. So we slurred to B, left hand lifted. We're going to lift again because we have another harmonic interval to play, which is fourth. When I slur down to C, I need to come down on fourth at the same time. So as you can see, I just took my time. Lift, stay down, come down together, lift, stay down, come down together. 2, lift. Measure number 3 is the same as 1. G, B, D, repeated legato, lift. Now here on measure number 4, it's just opposite what measure number 2 did. We come down together with fourth in the left hand, C there. In the right, lift. We're going to slur down to B with third here. Lift, stay down. Come down with second and A. So notice we just kind of went backwards. Now when you're practicing these mixed articulations, it's going to be strange having to do this, 2 things at once. So practice very slowly. Lift, hold, prepare, B, and third. Think about them one at a time, and then when they're both ready to come down together, lift, stay down, touch the keys that you're going to come play together, and then come down together like that. So think about them first, touch them to say, hey, these are the notes that I'm going to play while this one is still down, and then come down together. Always coming down together because it doesn't work that way. They need to be mixed and the same. Measure 5 is the same as the first and third. This measure number 6 is exactly the same as 2. Lift, come down together, lift, okay, stay down, come down together. Okay, here we go. Now these last 2 measures are the most difficult because of the repeated legato. B, repeated legato to A, repeated legato down to G, G, G. So all these are repeated legato and slur. Remember how we jerk really quickly, do not allow a lift in between these notes. Now the last measure is going to be the most difficult because of the lifts in between the left hand thirds there. So when we play those together, we're going to take it slow, we're going to freeze, lift. When this repeats legato, it's going to come down together. Make sure they come down together, lift, stay down, and they come down together. Now you're going to have to try your best to make sure that they land together when you repeat legato for the right. That's going to take some practice, some experimenting, but eventually you should be able to get it. And when it comes down together, it sounds just like that. So when we play the whole last two, we want the clear lift there in the left hand, while the right hand is repeated legato. Okay, so let's go ahead and practice these two songs here. This is part 2, and we will see you next time. Bye.